in 82, I was delivering vet programs. In the mid-90s, I'd had partnerships with the University of New England, Sydney University, Macquarie, Western Sydney, Southern Cross, and I know I missed somebody, but well, that happens. And those partnerships were pathway partnerships. So, and this was at a time, of course, when those partnerships didn't really exist. There weren't many of them at all. So, you know, 2 years of vet studying JMC programs, and again, creative arts, creative industries. So we're talking audio engineering, film and television production, other programs. But what we found at JMC was that the time that it took, and I mean this with the greatest respect to the university sector, the time that it took to redevelop units was just so long that we could not keep up to speed with the industry. So I remind you, we were delivering vet, 2 years of vet, and 1 year of a higher ed qualification. Because the training packages were coming to fruition, and I firmly believe the training packages have a place, but not in the whole of the vet sector. That's just a personal view, and I say that because within the creative industries, again, you need to be able to move relatively quickly. And I don't need to explain that. I'm sure you're all aware of how fast the games industry has moved, and the film industry, television, high definition, etc., etc., etc. It was that inspired me, or those two things, the dealings with the universities and the training packages, that inspired me to move across to higher ed. Now, at the time, we were told that, you know, we would have serious difficulty getting 5 programs accredited, and the more I was told that, the more determined I was to make it happen. And I was successful with that. But what I learned from that whole experience was that what we were delivering at JMC was very much what I guess in the past you might have described as applied degrees, a certain amount of hands-on that went with the higher order thinking. What I find interesting is the shift that we are currently seeing in the university sector, and not all universities, but many, are shifting away from what they were 10, 15 years ago, where it was purely academic. I'm not suggesting to you that all programs were that way, just in general terms, and it's just a view. And what's interesting is that so many of the universities are redeveloping programs and providing more applied subjects into them. So it's an interesting thing. Now, the other thing that's interesting is that if you look at what the TAFE sector is doing, the TAFE sector, like private providers, are able to move into higher ed, and I think we all know that there's a fair bit of that happening. So looking at the TAFE sector, what you're seeing is a shift from being purely practical-based, hands-on, to a shift in delivering a degree that is hands-on, but with a significant quantity of theoretical subjects. So there seems to be this merging that's happening. Having said that, of course, then you've got in the certificates 1, 2 and 3 in the vet sector shifting down into the schools, the vet and schools. So where's all this taking us? Well, I wish I knew, because if I knew, I could probably become a rather rich man. But the fact is that none of us really know. What we do know is that the shift is happening. What we do know is the shift that is occurring is one that actually existed in the private sector for a long time, because there are many providers, even today in vet, that you could argue are delivering a combination of theory and practical subjects. There's very few private providers, other than, you know, I can't even think of a subject, maybe plumbing or something, or bricklaying, where perhaps there isn't as much theory needed. You know, so it's been going for a long time, and I just wonder if it's become an organic shift that's just going to occur and continue to occur. If that is the case, how fantastic for the private sector, because we've been doing it all along. Isn't that amazing? Claire a little while ago talked about the recognition that we don't get. Can I say, Claire, that we're getting more and more of it today than we have over the past? And I'm pretty pleased to say that a lot of that is due to the work that ACPET has been doing. But why is this shift occurring? That answer I can't give you. Why isn't it occurring more quickly if we think it's the right way to go? Firstly, let me say, I still believe that there is a difference between vet and higher ed. The delivery systems are different. The desired outcomes are different. So therefore, the assessment methods need to be different. If you're going to merge the two, or if there is a natural merging of the two, all of that will shift. But I do say, in my view, it is pedagogically appropriate that those differences remain. But I also add to this that I believe it is culturally inappropriate that any one sector be seen to be of more relevance to another. I am dead against that. Yesterday, Rod Cam had a slide that he put on the screen, and this particular slide was to do with employability outcomes, employment outcomes. And he made a point of the fact that it wasn't referencing to income generation, but employability outcomes. And then Chris Robinson did the same thing today, although it wasn't on a slide. And on that particular slide that Rod Cam had on the screen, it showed that the percentage of success rates in terms of employability for those who have got a vet Cert 4 diploma, advanced diploma, or those with an associate degree were all pretty much the same. So in terms of employability skills, does it really matter whether you've done a higher ed degree or a vet program? According to that, no. But we know, of course, that it does make a difference in terms of income generation. So I say to you that it is culturally inappropriate that we maintain a segregation between the two. So I believe one tertiary sector is appropriate, but different parts of it. A vet sector, a higher ed sector, and one that works together, and one that respects each of the sectors. Okay? I really think that's very, very important, and we will move much more forward, more quickly, if we were to take that approach. I have this one question that I'll leave you with. If higher ed is higher ed, then what's everything else? By definition, is it lower than it's vet? It shouldn't be. Thank you for listening to